Hi friends! I literally thought I needed to diet forever and add more and more workouts every single week. I didn't realize the people who look like they lifted followed a build and reveal loop. I could not wrap my head around how these girls looked so incredible and still worked full time, went out with friends, and didn't seem overwhelmed with every single fitness tip that I thought that they were doing 24/7. It turns out that they weren't doing everything 24/7. They had a phased approach and only emphasized what mattered at certain times, not all of the time. This build in reveal loop had them looking better and better every year while living their life and not stressing and yo-yoing like I was doing. In this episode, I'm sharing what the build and reveal loop is so you can look like you lift with a clear strategy. Let's get into it. If you're like, wait, I thought you had to diet forever and you needed to do all these things forever and I needed to be more strict and add more workouts, and I was wondering how these other people did it with other things that they have going on in their lives. Like, I know I'm capable, but how are they so consistent all of the time? Then this is probably what you're missing, especially if you're already healthy and you want to go from looking healthy to looking like you actually lift weights. And if you didn't hear, I just announced Create Your Shape Sprint. This is an 8-week version of Create Your Shape with the custom and phased approach for ladies who lift to implement that build and reveal loop. So nothing will be random. Every effort will have a purpose, especially in its condensed 8-week version. And when you get signed up in August, you're automatically gonna get the nutrition sprint kit so you can get started on that front. And then you'll also get the Create Your Shape training program so you can also get started on that front. You can learn more and get signed up at the link in the show notes or go to jennythenutritionist.com/create-your-shape. Now, you guys, when I was trying my hardest, I remember in my late 20s, and I literally thought I needed to just be better all the time. So anytime I didn't eat clean, or anytime I fell off my macros or wanted to have fun with my friends, I just thought I was being bad and not gonna reach my goals. I saw girls eating pizza out with friends, and I was like, what in the world? I just don't get it. Maybe it's their genetics. I just was so confused, and I thought I had to choose between looking how I wanted to look and being that fit, or a social life, or just being a human and not being so perfect all the time. I also had no idea that you could build a different shape. I just thought you were yourself and you were either skinnier or you were better. And I didn't realize how building muscle actually worked. I just thought you worked out more. It was very lost in the sauce, even though I knew I was capable deep down, and I knew that there had to be a way because I saw so many people do it. And I was persistent as hell, and I just kept trying different things, and then it clicked and I figured it out, mainly from doing a bikini show, because there wasn't a program like Create Your Shape back then. So mainly from doing a bikini show, I was like, okay, well, I'm at least gonna learn something, and I'm definitely gonna create the best shape of my life at the time. So this was in my late 20s. And really the big thing that I learned is that there's a strategy behind it. People are not doing all of this all the time. It is definitely not sustainable or healthy, nor do you want to do all of it all the time. That is not going to help you reach your goals. And the other thing I couldn't understand, but until this happened and I saw it with my own eyes and saw the strategy, is that this is also how you get better and you look better year after year, and how you can keep compounding. It's so cool. And I was just like, what? But you should be making compounding changes every year, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. This is why my shape looked better in my 30s than it did in my 20s. It's why I've had clients in their 50s be like, oh my gosh, my shape looks better than last year. And it definitely looks better than when I was in my 20s. And so it's definitely irrelevant of the age and more important of the strategy. I was just coaching with a client, Noelle, and at first she was doing this. She was very confused and she had her like training routine down. She had a nutrition routine down. And she's like, I already eat healthy. I'm consistent at that. I already train and lift weights. Like I already do all that. Do I just need to do more of it? Like, how do I up level? And then like, what is my shape capable of? And so she learned the strategy through the coaching, but we also implemented it and made it very specific to her. And she is very petite to begin with, meaning she's very like short and small framed. And she lost 9 pounds in built shoulder caps. So much so that her people come up to her every check-in, like once a week, at least 2 people come up to her throughout the week and ask her about her shoulder caps, ask her where she works out, what has she been doing. Her dad even commented on her abs and man, like, whoa, what's going on here? Because she looks that fit. She gets comments on her like Instagram from people just based on her arms. Like she looks like she lifts weights now. And now we're strategizing and I'm asking her, okay, what's next for you, right? Because you could just stay here, you look great, but you could also keep building off of this if you want to, because that is how it works. Like there's a loop, build and reveal loop. So this is what a build and reveal loop is not. You don't do the same thing all the time. That is not how you create a shape that looks like you lift weights. And like, thank God, because we don't want to be perfect. We don't do everything all the time. You don't need to diet all the time. You should definitely not be dieting all the time. You don't need to eat clean all of the time. It's just not a requirement to build your shape. And you don't have to track macros perfectly all the time, which as a macro lover, even I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do that. I don't need to do that. And you don't have to do everything at once. This was the biggest headache for me, because I thought, okay, if I have to get up early, then I can get a run in, and then I can pack my lunch and make sure it's like has these perfect macros, and then I can make this breakfast, and I have to get the protein in, and then I've got to get, and like it was just, and then I got to get the Stairmaster at the gym, and then I've got to do, and it was just like stacking every single tip I heard, which on a great day I could do it all. But on a good day, it felt like hard. And then if it was a bad day or even just like a not perfect day, it was just like not going to happen. It's just not physically possible with other things I had in my life too, like a career. And so I just felt like defeated all the time because I thought I had to do all these things at once, and you don't have to do all of it at once. Instead, there is a strategic, science-based, like phased approach. This is what I'm calling the build and reveal loop, because that's exactly what it is. You build, then you reveal, and then it's repeatable to create compounding like results to look better year after year. So here is what the build is. First of all, the build is not a dirty bulk. This is not where you just gain a bunch mindlessly. Absolutely not. That is not needed nor not advised. Maybe the your top bodybuilding athletes do need to put on some body fat to also put on some muscle mass, or your people who are really lean or already have a lot of muscle. But I would say for the majority of my ladies that I work with, that's not necessary. Now, there may come a point when that is necessary, but at that point you already look so good and so lean that put on a little tiny bit of body, that's not a big deal. Anyway, just want to confirm, it is not a dirty bulk. And yes, it is a build phase where you do build muscle, but you are also in this phase building your training skills, which I think people don't realize that when you're taking your shape to the next level, you're going from lifting weights and just doing like, okay, 3 sets of 10 to, oh, I'm going to the next level. I gotta learn how to train failure. That's a skill. I got to learn how to do double progression overload where it's not just 3 sets of 10. It's like more fine tuned than that. Oh, I got to learn to like connect my muscle connection to the actual muscle I'm trying to work here. Like it's a skill. So you're building that skill too. You're also building up your calorie intake. So yeah, that means eating enough. Generally for most, that means eating more, but it just doesn't mean blindly dirty bulking. It means eating enough specific to you. Also, it means building up your metabolism. You definitely want to do that before you go into a deficit phase. And you want your hormones optimized, not only to feel great in life and feel good and energized, but also to set you up for a good deficit phase, but to be able to maintain it as well. Also, when it comes to building, you're building your routines. So you're building your nutrition systems. You probably already have your training systems down, but you're building your nutrition system so it just feels easy. It just feels like, oh, this is what I do. This is how I operate. This on autopilot. You're also building your social life. And what I mean by that is you're building your social life with all these other things. You're gonna have date nights. You're gonna have happy hours. You're gonna have vacations, weekend events, all of that. Building how you handle those and what that looks like from a balanced perspective, because again, it does not mean every day needs to be perfect. You're building your meal bank, meaning you have options like meals already like ready to go, so you don't have to start everything from scratch every single week. And you're building up becoming macro savvy. This means you're not doing a math problem before you eat every single time. Instead, you feel like you can just make decisions on the fly and you really understand food. So this is what the build period in the build phase is all about and accomplishing. Now, how long does this build phase take? 1 month to 6 months. Obviously, the more you get into it, the longer you go. Of course, the more muscle you're going to build and the more time you have to do all these things I've listed. Now, after that, that's when you go into the reveal phase. And so this is where you delay your body fat and you reveal your new shape that you've just built. So this is your calorie deficit phase. This is your, let me make it clear, it is your well-fed calorie deficit phase. Because when you do that build phase first, even if you don't want to build muscle, you still want to do that build phase and build everything else I talked about, because that's how you go into a calorie deficit, primed and ready to go, and you go into it being able to do it well fed. So you're not hangry, so you don't feel like it's not sustainable, so you don't feel like it's like so much work because you already have your system set up and in place. You've really primed yourself to make it easier at higher calories and still being able to decrease body fat and feel healthy while do it. So this reveal phase is fun, right? This is where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing more and more definition. Like in the build phase, you're going to, for I would say most, you're going to look better. You're going to be changing your body composition. But in the reveal phase, that is where you're really decreasing body fat. So you're just going to be delayering to show more of that muscle, show more of those lines, show more of that like curve and definition, and just feel like light and springy and defined. And this is a short dedicated phase. So it can be done, I would say the lowest is 5 weeks I would really advise to go. And then the longest is around 12 weeks. So just to give you an idea of time frame, that is nuanced in itself as well. But that's kind of, I just want to kind of have you like wrap your head around this like build and reveal loop. Now, in Create Your Shape, like this is exactly what we do in Create Your Shape. So I just want to give you an example with some of my clients. I find that if it's your first time really understanding this, generally you want to do these phases as fast as you can, so that way you can really wrap your head around it, understand it, get both phases in, and see the physique changes to be convicted in yourself, be like, oh, okay, I get it, yes. But then I find the longer I work with people, the longer they want to be in each phase because they see the benefit of that. And so that's why I say, like, of course it's better to be in the phases for longer, but from a like mental and implementation standpoint, at first I suggest doing it a partially shorter version. And that's one of the reasons why I have put together Create Your Shape Sprint, the 8-week version of Create Your Shape, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're sprinting. So you can get both the build in the deficit phase in, and now there are specific ways I'm like condensing this. It is a very intentional, and so that way you can make progress in both lanes, like the build in reveal, but you're really getting a taste and understanding how it all works, like trust and implement it for longer for the next time if you want to keep compounding on top of the shape you build, and do so while looking better, right? So that is what the build and reveal loop is. Definitely, if anybody wants to build their shape and wants to look better and wants to look like they lift, this is what they need to be implementing for sure. They do it in bodybuilding competitions, but you don't have to be a bodybuilder to do this. You can just steal their strategies, so that way you know you're doing the most important things and the fastest things to get the shape that you're going for. So if that's you, definitely join us in Create Your Shape Sprint, and I'll see you next week on the Create Your Shape podcast.